Okay, we're live. Greetings in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. I'm Andrii, and today I am with Bill and Josh, and we'll be discussing the formation of social memory complexes. We are merely fellow seekers providing our limited understandings. Keep only that which resonates with you. Bill will introduce us to social memory complexes. Go ahead, Bill.
Hi, my name is Bill, and this instruction course, we're on the topic of social memory complex, is an attempt by us to become like a social memory complex and learn a certain topic. And if you know anything about the Law of One material, they use a lot of learn, teach. They use a parentheses to state things in a different way. And this is our attempt to learn a topic of social memory complex. And I will go first, and I'm going to read right. So I'm taking material from the raw contact, which is found at LL Research, and out of 1.5, that means first section, fifth paragraph, the questioner asks, could you give me a little more detail about your role with the Egyptians? And Ra says, the identity of the vibration, Ra, is our identity. We as a group, or what you would call a social memory complex, made contact with the race of your planetary kind, which you call the Egyptians. So right from that, we find out that a social memory complex is a group. And then session 2, Ross says, queries are in order in your projections of mind distortions at this time space. Thus, I would assure this group that my own social memory complex has one particular method of communicating with those few who may be able to harmonize their distortion with ours. And that is to respond to queries for information. So from that, we learned that the social memory complex has a particular method of communicating with their channels. And then the third quote was from session 3.11. It says, was the pyramids then built from the mutual action of many of your people? And then Ra responds and says, the pyramids we thought built were constructed from thought forms by our social memory complex. So from that, we learned that a social memory complex can work together to create things in the material world. Now I'll go to 6.4 of the raw material, and Ra says, I am Ra, I am with the social memory complex of which I am a part, one of those who voyaged outward from another planet within your own solar system, as this entity would call it. The planetary influence was what that you call Venus. We are a race old in your measure. So we find out that Ra, as a social memory complex, was formed on Venus. And then 7.15, Ra says, it should be noted, carefully pondered, and accepted that the law of one is available to any social memory complex which has decided to strive together for any seeking of purpose. So we find out that the social memory complex strives together for a seeking of a purpose. And then in 7.16, the same session, it says, using an example of a fifth density group or social memory complex of the Orion group, what was their previous density before they became fifth density? And Ross says, the progress through densities is sequential. A fifth density social memory complex would be comprised of mind, body, spirit complexes harvested from fourth density. Then the conglomerate or mass, mind, body, spirit complex does its melding. So from there, we find that social memory complexes are formed sequential from one density to another, and then they meld together. And 11.3, Ross says, the planetary social memory complex Maldek had in common with your own sphere the situation of a mixture of energy direction. So in that case, he's comparing Maldek, the planet that was now the asteroid system in our solar system, is has a mixture of various energies, like our planet Earth does, which those energies are service to others, service to self energies. Now at 11.7, the questioner asks, at what stage does a planet achieve social memory? So right here it says, Ross says, a mind-body-spirit complex becomes a social memory when the entire group of entities are of one orientation or seeking. The group memory lost to the individuals and the roots of the tree of mind then become known to the social complex, thus creating a social memory complex. The advantages of this complex are the relative lack of distortion in understanding, the social beingness, and the relative lack of distortion in pursuing direction and seeking. For understanding, distortions are available to entities of the society. So right there we see a social memory complex are one group that are seeking, and they are they have it says a relative lack of distortion in understanding the social beingness, and so they are together, and the relative lack of social distortion in pursuing the direction of seeking. So they understand their social beingness, and they all understand that they are going in the same direction in seeking, and then in 17.13, the questioner asks, when I'm communicating with you as Ra, are you at times an individualized entity, or am I speaking to the entire complex? And it says, you speak with Ra. There is no separation. You would call it a social memory complex, thus indicating manyness. To our understanding, you are speaking to an individualized portion of consciousness. And so the social memory complex, there is no separation in it with the members, and it's a member, and they indicate manyness, and they are consider themselves a portion of consciousness. And it says then in 19.7, the questioner asked, then the Confederation also aided in second density to third density transition. Is this correct? And he says, each of those entities developing mind, body, spirit complex, and then developing a social memory complex, and then dedicating the social memory complex to the singular service to the one creator, may join the Federation. And so from that, we see that if you, the social memory complex serves the oh gosh, it serves the creator.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate you sharing that. That was some great quotes you shared and teachings from Ra Contact on the social memory complex. The Raw Contact that was channeled by L&L Research in 1981. Those quotes that Bill read came from that period. I have some more information I'd like to share to help elucidate what a social memory complex is. This bit of information here is a great explanation from lnlresearch.org on their frequently asked questions, what is a social memory complex? Which states, a social memory complex generally forms in fourth density when the veil is released. Without the veil, each becomes transparent to each, fully aware of each other's thoughts. In this environment, the individual's memories, experiences, thoughts, etc., then become available to the whole thus the social memory component. All the individuals in that society, however many there are, then become capable of acting together as one unified being while still retaining individuality. It is a complex simply because it consists of many parts, and also because Ra loved to identify many parts working together as a whole, forming a complex. So you can think of it as all the humans, all the people, humanity on a planet, on Earth, linking up, merging, coming together, but physically remaining separate, almost like a school of fish or a flock of birds, where they have a one general um, collective motion and movement and shape, but they're made up of individual fish or individual birds. Or you could think of an ant colony as well. Here are some quick quotes as well from other Confederation members. This is from Latouille in January 13th, 1985. Social memory complexes are one in seeking and are, shall we say, focused as to desire to be of service to others, though each entity within a social memory complex is able to function as an individualized portion of this complex as well. The same concept of individuality, yet connectedness. This is Ra. I am Ra. The basic purpose of a social memory complex is that of evolution. Each entity within a social memory complex is known to the other entities in terms of the contents of that entity's mind. So our minds are open, our thoughts, our inner thoughts are now shared thoughts. Whatever you think is broadcast to everyone else, they can listen as their free will. As you're sharing it with your free will and you're a group, and they can tap into that. Here's another piece from Quo. Now, a very tiny example of a social memory complex would be the couple or the family, which is extremely close, so that the entities have begun to tune into each other and eerily have begun to know what the other was going to say, what the other was sensing, how the mood of the other was going without having to speak. There is a growing awareness from the soul level when there is complete trust between two people. This is difficult to achieve. So it's almost like thinking each other's thoughts, just being very close and knowing their behaviors and so on, becoming very connected day to day in their thinking and their actions, where you can expect what the other one is thinking, thus bringing you two closer, less separation, more unity. Last thing I have here to share for now is from the Ra contact. Ra said that they are from the sixth density, and in their words, a social memory complex. This is what a planetary population becomes in the densities of evolution beyond our own, being third density, which is where we are. In this arrangement, the thoughts, memories, and experiences of every individual are known and available to the whole group. So it's like you put your brain on the internet. Now everyone can see it, and everyone's brains are on the internet. You could see theirs, they could see yours. Almost like this is a good example came to me today. If you have the experience of working in a local area network or in a network on computers, and it's strictly the local computers connected to each other all share the same hard drive. They all have a network drive. They have full access to each other's data. They remain separate computers, but they can easily browse and see the files in all the other computers. It's very open, no firewalls, right? And according to Ra, the population of Earth will birth its own social memory complex after its graduation to the fourth density is complete. So third densities, like us here now, we're not social memory complexes, we're mind, body, spirit complexes. and after our graduation at the end of third density, we become fourth density, we will be in a social memory complex. Just as individuals evolve over time, the social memory complex likewise evolves, transforming and becoming more unified as the lessons of each higher density of evolution are successfully grasped. So they grow together as one big person. To Ra, a social memory complex, there is no distinction between an individual and the whole group. Thus, when we communicated with those of Ra, we spoke to one individualized entity of the social memory complex. Since everyone in this group accesses a shared mind, it was as if we were communicating with all 6.5 million entities of the Ra social memory complex. So it doesn't matter whether you're addressing a crowd or an individual, it's the same as far as who hears it and who's talking back. One, it just acts as the loudspeaker for the collective. So I'd like to pass it over to Andrii to share about social memory complexes.
Okay, so I wanted to give people an idea of what it is, like why should you care about social memory complexes. And if you are on this earth and you're interested in what's going on, then it's a great idea to know about social memory complexes, because we are transitioning into having them and being part of them. In fact, you are most likely already at the beginning stages of social memory complexes with some of your friends and some of your family members. Now, what does it take to begin to form social memory complexes together? In 2007, on February 4th, Kuo answered that when any two entities who are aware that they are spiritual beings choose to seek together, there is created immediately an oversoul made up of their two incarnate energies connected to their guidance systems. In many cases, also connected to the entities and their guidance systems are the families or social memory complexes with which they have traveled to be of service to this planet. Consequently, even a two-person oversoul may involve an enormous family gathering if you look at the structure that has been created by the dedication in love and service to others of the two beings who are aware of their opportunity to choose. Now, that was a whole lot of words. But the basic idea is that when you are with someone and you guys are doing the same thing together, you are seeking together, then this kind of, you become part of the same bubble, if you will. And if you are, say, for instance, one of the most common forms of seeking is seeking the one infinite creator. So when you go to church and you worship God together, then you form this social memory complex in your church, and then you can connect with other people who worship God with you in that church as one being. And in, say, for instance, in your family, you most likely have interacted with them a lot, and that is really special and that's really wonderful, and you have done lots of seeking together, so you most likely are already on some level a social memory complex. Like sometimes when you're talking to your family and you may say something that's not true, and then your family catches on to it and they're like, "Ah, you're lying. Why? You should tell the truth. It's me." And it's like, how did they know? And how they knew is because you guys are part of a social memory complex. And on some level, they can read your emotions. They can read your thoughts because you've forgiven and loved each other enough for that to happen. This especially happens with, like, say, close spouses or close family members or close friends. And so this is already happening. And the idea is that as we move, right now we are in, our bodies are still third density or whatnot, but the energies of the fourth density are already greater than the energies of third density on this earth. And so the process is already beginning. And as there's more light of the one infinite creator and more love of the one infinite creator, it is much harder to hide things, because that love and that light of the one infinite creator, it reveals all things to you. And so all of these things that were once hidden and were once dark and where you weren't sure before, now you can see them. Now you know. And so that can be a little bit scary for some people. But the important thing to realize is that on the service to others path, everybody forgives and loves you unconditionally, or at least that's their goal. you know because it's a process that can take 30 million years. It can take 30 million years to become as forgiving and as loving as Jesus was when he came to this earth, because he was a soul that was at graduation level from fourth to fifth density. That means that he had already learned all the lessons of love that there are to learn in this creation. And that is why he was so loving. That is why he was so kind. That is why he said that love one another as I have loved you, and that is how you will know that you are my disciples. Because how he loved you, or how he loved everyone, is it was a perfect love, because he had already learned all the lessons of love. He had learned how to forgive the Pharisees and all those other people. And that's what he asked us to do. And there's another quote in 2001 on December 23rd. And so, if the one known as Jesus was offering information about the vibration of a social memory complex, then the direction that entities who wish to help form a social memory complex need to go is the direction of forgiveness and love, forgiveness of enemies, forgiveness of the self, and the willingness to make a new beginning. These seem finite qualities, but in the metaphysical world they are infinite. The freedom to expand and strengthen light is complete once the soul has pierced the veil of forgetting. So there's several important things to note here, and that is that this thing, that forgiveness and love, some people think, oh, that's too simple, but it's not. It's actually one of the highest things that you can do, the one of the most complicated. Like there's some people are like, oh, I already forgive and love everyone. Do you really? Have you forgiven Hitler? Have you forgotten Stalin? Did you forgive Mao? You have to forgive all those people. And like some people have classes of people like pedophiles or other people, and they're like, oh no, you're saying you're going to forgive those people. I can't deal with this. And so here goes, there's more unforgiveness there. So there's a lot to learn, and it's okay if you don't forgive everyone right away. It's a process. And then once you have managed, it says the freedom to expand and strengthen light is complete once the soul has pierced the veil of forgetting. So if you achieve this to a sufficient level, then you will also pierce the veil of forgetting, and you will remember your past lives, and you will remember that you are part of one infinite creator. You will remember that everyone is part of one infinite creator. You will be able to see the spark of love within all that is around you, just like Jesus saw. And that is a wonderful thing, and it's a beautiful and it's a joyous life, and it's something that you can have. It may take some work. It may take years. Who knows? It may take a few seconds, and maybe you've already done it. We don't know. It's your path. And we forgive and love you unconditionally, no matter what you decide in that regard. Thank you. All right. So did you guys want to do the discussion now, or?
Sure.
Okay. So what were some of the highlights of today for you guys, or in social memory complexes, that you feel that people that it would be of service for them to know?
Go ahead, Bill, if you'd like.
Well, there is I wanted to add one more quote, and that's from 15.18, and it says, and they were talking about, the question was about Michael or whatever, and it said, but rather a group of mind, body, spirit complexes dedicated to service. Those entities work together, and they say, but are not completely unified. Thus, they do not completely see the other thoughts, feelings, and motives. And they were talking about a group of third density people that were not a social memory complex. But in this quote, we find out that in a social memory complex, entities are completely unified, and they see each other's thoughts, feelings, and motives. And so in a social memory complex, the way I see it is, once you're formed in it, then everybody knows probably all your past lives, everything, every thought, every detail you've had in your life, everything you've done, every conversation you've had. So everybody knows everybody in the social memory complex. There's nothing that is lost from each other. It's like everybody's got a full download of everybody in that group's entire existence.
In my understanding of this is that all of that is accessible. All of that becomes accessible, and like with just a thought, they're like, hey, I wonder about that person's past, and then they can get that information, they can retrieve that information because they're part of the social memory complex. But not necessarily every entity in the social memory complex will want to know all of that information simultaneously, and so the potential is there for sure. But I think that there's also an important, I know they've mentioned multiple times that even though the social memory complex has formed, everyone still maintains their individuality. So it's not like you've lost your individuality and you've merged into some kind of hive mind where you have no autonomy. No, you still have autonomy. You're still an independent person. You can still make different choices. And some entities, so some members of Raw have even gone to other galaxies, and some have come back, and some are still going off somewhere, So there's, it's kind of it's like being part of a nice big family or a big clan where everyone loves and forgives each other, and you don't have to hide anything from anyone because you're all nice to each other. Yeah. Oh, and there was I was wondering if maybe we could do, if there was something you guys were, some kind of seeking that we could do together. Like maybe we could, I don't know, chant something together, or maybe we could praise God together. Something kind of like to demonstrate, social memory complex seeking together.
I think a great idea of that is where, as many do, and all of us do here on a weekly basis, is all together Om chanting meditation, where we're all oming the same frequencies, vibrating the same tone within our bodies, our minds at the same time around the world, where we consciously do it, and we are consciously, time together. Yet there's many other people all throughout the globe that are also doing that chanting. So it unites you, those who are in meditation together, oming together in a metaphysical frequency, as you are tuning your auras, your consciousness waves that you're on to this one source fundamental frequency of creation. So I think that's for me, that's an idea that comes up.
Mm-hmm. Bill, are you comfortable with doing that, and we'll all om together?
That's fine. I don't know if I lost my video or not, but
it's it has to do with the connection. Don't worry about it. Okay, so om. Feel free to join in whenever you want. And those of you watching, you can join us in our oming, and Josh, you're oming as well. I don't know, and so and then you'll be part of our social memory complex too. You know, we'll feel your mind. I can already feel your mind. Oh.
Yes, that was a great joint oming that
Wonderful.
those watching on YouTube can join in and experience the connection. I did have a few more examples I think would be helpful for one who's interested in understanding social memory complex, perhaps in a way they can closer relate to or imagine. That pop came to me here. I'm sure everyone is familiar with sports teams, so a similar kind of metaphor could be a well-rehearsed, well-practiced, well-trained sports team, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, any sport, where there's a group on the same team that train together, practically live together, right? They rehearse over and over, they have a lot of experience with each other, though it's almost at the point where they know what each other will do, during the play. They know where to be at the right time for they know what to expect of each other, since they're on one brainwave. They're thinking alike in what their goal is, their will. And also at the same time, this sports team made up of multiple athletes and players, they all identify and represent the one team, whatever the team name is. They are that team name. So they are one, whatever their team name is. But that team also, when someone says the name of their favorite team, they also know who the different players are. So, in the same manner, is a metaphor. Not a perfect example, but maybe a metaphor that might help you see that. And in it, if reading the material that we share and going on the website or reading the books, you'll come across that the Confederation of Planets in Service to the One Infinite Creator is a group of multiple social memory complexes. There are many of them. Three that you'll hear the most are Hatan, which is fourth density, Latui is fifth density, and Ra is sixth density social memory complex. And there are others, and also those three come together as the principle of Quo, but that's not for today's session. And each social memory complex represents a planet. They'll say they are Hatan is the planet Hatan. The social memory complex encompasses the consciousness of the planet sphere itself, just as they tell us Mother Earth, Gaia, Terra, however you wish to refer, is also a conscious being that is part, and it's Earth's social memory complex. We are part of it. It is part of us. So that's another aspect to that goes along to be aware of social memory complexes.
Yeah, I think those are great examples, and maybe some of those sports teams have formed like social memory complexes to a certain degree, anyways. Especially if they've been working together quite well for a while. I'm thinking especially those ballet, uh, figure skating ballet people. Um, they most likely also have that kind of connection. And a lot of those kinds of sports, especially where there's like a small number of people where they're very close together, they probably have worked through a lot of issues together. They've probably done a lot of forgiveness and love work, because whenever you're with someone for a long period of time, for years, it's just like a spousal relationship. You're going to have various kind of I know the Confederation talks about it. It's kind of like we are diamonds in the rough. And when we're in a relationship, it's like those diamonds are scraping against each other, and they are scraping off the impurities and letting that light shine more brightly and more purely as we learn to grow and adapt, and love and accept through our relationships.
So can we come to some sort of consensus to what what a social memory complex is? I would say it is a group. It's not a hive mind, but it's a group that has the potential to share everybody's mind in there. They're all one of purpose. They're all one in seeking. They're all kind of one in knowing what their distortions are. Do you guys disagree with that, or would you like to add anything?
Oh, well, I'm not sure. I definitely there. I agree with a bunch of what you said, but I think that they're definitely. I think that the thing is that, as the Confederation says, everything is both true and not true at the same time. so like, while I can agree, I can also disagree if I wanted to. So for one example is that united in purpose. And on some level, certainly they are united in purpose. Like all of the entities of Hatan are united in purpose in serving the planet Earth at this time. But at the same time, each individual Hatan member may have their own perspective on that purpose. And like, say, for instance, some of the members of Hatan have come down to Earth and incarnated amongst the Earth people, and some are still, up on the spaceship. And so there's like slightly different purposes there, but all of their purposes combined, on the ones that are on the spaceship anyways, are part of that social memory complex, when they interact with others. And
So
go ahead.
are there generalities that you would define a social memory complex as?
Well, I think that, like what you said was valid. And we've already given many definitions that I think are very good to get people kind of the idea of how it is,
Okay.
and then how it
What about
applies
you,
to their
Josh?
life. Yep.
Yeah, I agree that certainly I think we've shared pretty thoroughly many descriptions and references of what a social memory complex is. A lot of most, if not all of the material that we read is from the LNL research channeling material from the Confederation of Planets in service of the One Infinite Creator. And yeah, we will become a social memory complex. Once, like Andrii said, we all love and forgive each other self to come together. In one way, whether we're not all going to be part of it. The population of the humans incarnated on Earth currently may not all polarize and graduate to fourth density positive, which will be the social memory complex on planet Earth after this third density harvest. So a lot of us will be together in a social memory complex, and those who did not reach harvestability will reincarnate in the current third density on another planet, and whoever may have reached harvestability in the negative fourth density will proceed, but will not be located on Earth, as Earth is already a positive fourth density entity. And yeah, so
Yeah, good points. And so yeah, as we're having our practice social memory complexes while we're alive now, and in the fourth density, things are more dense with light, and there's some more possibilities. Like a lot of the, I know one of the interesting things I remember is that like leprechauns and fairies and all those things, whereas like say a dual activated person may be able to see them with their third eye, but in when you're incarnated in a fourth density body, you would be able to interact with them bodily because you would be at the same vibration as those kind of fairy tale creatures. And another aspect is, like they were saying, that the social memory complex evolves over time. And so I believe that when we do incarnate in fourth density, it's not going to be like a fully formed social memory complex yet, but it's going to be of all people who have open hearts, who are loving and who are kind, because that was the graduation requirement just to get there. And so it's going to be much easier to form social memory complexes when you're surrounded by all of these loving and kind people. And so, maybe it'll start with some family here and a family there, and then they'll meet, and then it'll be like, a village, a social memory village complex, and then a neighborhood, and then a city, and then a country. And then it'll just like kind of keep growing until it becomes a planetary consciousness, like the ones that you were referring to. Like Haton is a planetary consciousness, and Ra is a planetary consciousness social memory complex. So they're kind of, and notably, Ra is not kind of representing kind of a Venus, the planet, but rather a group of 6 million people who left Venus and then came to Earth to help us. And there are still people on Venus who are in like fifth density, and maybe some in like low sixth density, who are still there, who did not come to Earth. And so there's still another social memory complex there. Yep.
So you're saying a social memory complex does not form instantaneously.
Well, I mean, as soon as people seek, it forms instantaneously, right? So once they seek together, it does. But it's not like a free gift, as in like it doesn't happen without you putting in the effort and you actually doing something. It's not like you being thrown in a pot of boiling water or something. It's rather, you deciding to open your heart and forgive and love this other entity, say a family member or a friend, and then it forms. So you're always a volitional participant. It's always a consensus-based thing.
So
yeah,
the love and the
I,
kindness and the serving others is the way we will enter into the social memory complex.
Right.
Thinking of others more than ourselves.
Yes. Mhm.
and a description that came to me here that I'd like to share that goes along with what you were describing. How, for me, the image of these individuals who have chosen service to others and are seeking the same infinite creator, they are becoming naturally more similar since their intentions and their desires are more similar. So it's almost as if as that group grows, as the group of people that are all heading the same direction grows, they'll become magnetically attracted because they're have the same interests, and they'll fit together with each other nicely, like Tetris or lock and key. There won't be, when it gets to that point where it's actually a high level social memory complex, there won't be any thorns in their sides, or they won't be a problem
Well,
for each other eventually. And
Yeah.
It's similar to, or another thought of that beingness, of that experience perhaps that you may have related to at one time, is when you come together in harmony and unity, you may feel close. You're going to feel very close to those individuals, like they're your family, like they're your brothers and sisters and children, very close. The barriers will be removed. So if you've ever met someone out in public, or a friend of a friend, or you've met someone for the first time, and you feel that you have a lot of similar interests, you're very you resonate with them, you may have shared a lot about you, a lot of you may be more open and excited to meeting this person that's very similar to you. Whereas maybe meeting someone else that you don't feel that type of feeling when you meet them, you're not as open, and not as forward with divulging your feelings and your life. So that type of feeling of, hey, I know you, you know me, like we're very similar, I want to just share freely, that type of harmony and attraction and energy, I envision, goes in part with coming together, and relating, being more open and closer, your memories, your thoughts. um, so I just wanted to add that to the
Mm.
mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming up to the end of the hour.
Yep.
So do you think we have given a good introduction to what a social memory complex is
I
tonight?
just wanted to add a little to what Josh was saying, is that the refining process will still continue even in fourth density, where, like just like with your spouse, even after being many years together, sometimes something will come up and you're going to have some tension, and then you're going to have to work through that catalyst. But also in third density right now, we are at the most kind of catalyst that ever, because it's the graduation, and so all of this catalyst is just being thrown at us all the time in order to help prepare us for graduation, or to give us the opportunity for graduation if we use it properly. Though some people are just getting kind of drowning in catalyst and dying, but those who are using it effectively are they're shining brighter and all that. But in fourth density, there will be less kind of catalyst, there will be less kind of difficulties in general, because it won't be like the life expectancy for an optimally functioning third density is 900 years, but for an optimally functioning fourth density, it's 90,000 years. And so because there's so much greater harmony between all of the people. Okay, you go on, Bill. I'm sorry to have interrupted.
Well, we're running up against the hour, and I think we covered an introduction to the social memory complex.
Okay, awesome. So did you guys want we'll do the outro now? Yeah. All right. Okay, so we leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite creator. Adonai.
Adonai.
Okay, I'm just ending the stream here. And